Tennessee gets a top 25 ranking. Cooper Barkate donned the top 10 wide receiver in college football, according to Ari Wasserman of 0-3. We got a lot to discuss today. Coming up on The Truth with Najeh Wilkins. What's going on, everybody, man? Welcome back to the show. Hope you guys are having a great night. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight, man, to the show. We got a lot to talk about national news-wise, the 6 teams that I cover, and so much more coming up today on the show, man. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. You hype up this video, man. Enjoy and become a member, man. Help a brother out. Got some bills to pay, man. But nah, I always supply out with the good content, man. Anything you guys want to see, please comment below. Okay, I want to supply this channel with you guys and give you guys content that you want to see. For now, for all my Georgia Tech fans that tune in, look, I am not a Georgia fan, okay? I just cover Georgia. Georgia's one of the teams that I said I was going to cover this year. I'm expanding. That's all I'm doing, y'all. I'm just expanding. Going from Georgia Tech and a bunch of other stuff to kind of more central teams. My Miami Hurricanes, which is my favorite team, covering them more this year. Those are 2 ACC, and then obviously the big time 4 SEC schools. And if you guys want to see a Big Ten school, let me know down in the comments as well, man. I'm just trying to expand this thing, make it fun, make it a channel you can come hang out and have a good time. All right. Now, let's go ahead and get into the national news. Okay. So the big one is this one right here. Right. Now, we won't go through the story, but Brendan Sorsby is done with college sports. Can local judges be next? Right. So we're not going to get into that story. But the big story is Brendan Sorsby, right? He basically declared Tuesday, or I should say Monday, that basically they were mutually parting ways with him at Texas Tech, and he was entering his name into the NFL supplemental draft. That was after the Big 12 talked about. I did in a live video of basically filing a legal complaint. You know what I'm saying? Everybody kind of congregating together to not allow him to play or to not allow them to make the Big 12 championship game. And like I said, it was never a thing against Texas Tech, right? Or their fan. It was always an integrity issue. And it's just, if you've bet that many times, who's to say you won't do it again? Who's to say you haven't learned your lesson, right? And I'm sure, like I said, everybody has addiction. Everybody has things they're dealing with. He's not the only one. I'm one too. Everybody has it. But it was just like at that point, you compromise the integrity of the sport. There was no coming back from that. No matter how nice, good Texas Tech might try to make it seem, there just was no coming back from that. So I'm happy for him. I think he can ball out in the NFL. Like I said, I'll watch him success. I think he's going to have a great NFL career potentially. He just has to land in the right spot. Highly productive, 27 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Dude did his thing, right? So I think he would be highly productive, highly successful at that next level. I just think it's just him getting the right fit and the right team to believe in him, trust him, and allowing him, giving him the resources equitable for him to be successful. So that was the biggest storyline, man. Like I said, I did a whole breakdown, so I'm gonna be short on this one, but I did a whole breakdown of Brendan Sorsby, my thoughts on it, what it meant for college football, why it was a win. You guys go check out the live. Actually, I'm gonna show you guys. So for those that are watching this live tonight, you guys get a chance to see. But please make sure you guys go check this out. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna show you guys where I did it live. Hold on 1 second. Okay, here you go, guys. So you guys can see. All right, here it is right here. So I did it live right here. You guys can go check out that video. Like I said, it's right here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all go check it out. The instant reaction, all that good stuff. Go check it out. Run it up for me. I gave more of a in-depth analysis of what I thought and definitely what it meant, man. But we're gonna leave that there because I talked all about it. But it's a good icebreaker to kind of start off the show. Okay, so next, we want to go with the Brendan Sorsby news, right? What happens next? There's a new updated college football top 25. Where does Texas Tech fall without Sorsby? How do they look? And all the teams, right? Obviously, Ohio State's number 1. No surprise there. They brought in Earl Little Jr., James Smith, Qual Russo from Alabama. He's supposed to have a big-time role. Terry Moore and much more. Oregon at 2 is kind of high for my liking. They did bring back, you know what I'm saying, obviously, Dante Moore, but 2, they haven't proven enough to me to be number 2. But sure. Okay, you got obviously Georgia. Right now, Georgia's expected to have a big year this year. This is probably one of the more talented, more depth rosters they've had in a long time, according to multiple reports. Insiders that cover the team at a high level have said that about the Georgia Bulldogs. So it's supposed to be a big year for them. Fighting Irish at 4, Texas at 5, a little low for my liking. I think Texas will have a big year this year. It should be in to make a lot of noise. Indiana at 6 is a little crazy to me. I'm not gonna lie, to win the national championship. Should easily be in the top 5, right? Josh Hoover, he can sling that football. He's really good, man. I think they're gonna still be a competitive team and can play at a high level. All right, my Miami Hurricanes at number 7. I think we should be higher than that. Ole Miss at 8, Texas A&M at 9. All right, got LSU Tigers at 10. Right, obviously with Weeks. You know what I'm saying? He returned for another year. Got Sam Lee and Jace Brown. You got Texas Tech, right, at 11. That's not that bad of a rating. BYU right under them. Okay, they got Oklahoma, Michigan. Penn State is a little high for my liking. 15 for Penn State. Penn State lost, you know what I'm saying, all them people, all those players, and then they got Matt Campbell, but this is a new look roster. I'm not that's a little high for me. Okay, 16, Bama's a little bit low. Bama got a little bit of a low rate in Washington. Number 17, all that debacle with their quarterback, man. We'll see how they're going to look this year. 18 is Utah. Low high for my liking for Utah after losing their head coach, Kyle Whittingham. Kind of new look team, new look roster. I don't know about that one. 18 is a little high. Got some dudes, but 19, they got Iowa, usually pretty good historically defensively. Obviously, a team to always watch out for and to pay attention to. 20 for USC is a little low for my liking, too. Right? They bring back Jaden Mayava. They got Terrell Anderson. They got some dudes, Corey Sims. I think USC should be in the conversation to make a Big Ten championship game this year, right? 21 Louisville, okay, right? SMU, I would put SMU above Louisville, just my personal preference. You know what I'm saying? I think they're going to be a good team this year. 23 is TCU. I don't know if they're going to be as good. A little high for my liking. 24 Houston. Houston should have an interesting year, man. They brought in Keyshawn Henderson. We'll see who's going to be their starting quarterback. It should be him, though, right? And then 25, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, the Tennessee Vols, okay? So that's what they had. Some of these I would move around. I ain't the biggest fan of. You know what I'm saying? Some of them is okay, y'all. But other ones, like, in my humble opinion, should be, like, much better. You know what I'm saying? I don't like Oregon at 2. I think that's too high. You know what I'm saying? I would move them down a little bit. Good team, but we got to see them get it done. You know what I'm saying? So that's the top 25. I comment below. I give it a C+. I just think some of those rankings are kind of high. I don't like where Indiana's ranked. I think my Hurricanes could be higher. I don't like where, let me see. I don't like where Penn State's ranked. That's too high. You know what I'm saying? Unproven. Alabama's a little too low for my liking. Utah's a little too high. Or USC's too low. TCU's a little too high. Yeah, I don't know. I ain't feeling it. I ain't really feeling it. Think it could be much better. In my humble opinion, it's top 25, man. Think it could be much better. I give it a C+. I'll move some things around here for sure for Mark Slackerback. But that is the top 25, and where Texas Tech ranks is at number 11 after Sorsby. But they should be good. They got Will Hammond. They should still be a pretty good team. But yeah, we got to protect the integrity of the sport. But we'll leave it there. That's the top 25. I think they should make some different changes. I ain't the biggest proponent of it. I think they could have did a whole lot better. All right, let's go to Alabama. Okay, contact period has begun. Alabama initiates direct communication with the numerous 2028 prospects. So let's see some of them. Kemion Compton Nero. Appreciate Alabama for the support. See everyone in September. Right, Kemion Compton Nero is number 2 athlete from Oklahoma. I think excuse me. I just think it's a winning defense. They play hard. They play physical. They come down and tackle. That all fits with what I'm able to do. Craig James, really good safety / DB from Birmingham, plays for Parker. Right. If you look at the measurables of DB room at Bama, the prototype is tall, long, and athletic. Means he being the 6'3 safety. I fit right into the mold of what they're doing. Being able to cover a lot of ground quickly. You got Charles Scott, Alabama commit already, quarterback. Me and Coach Ellis were real tight. We talk every day. He's starting to develop everything about me and my mechanics. Kevin Hartsfield from Newton. Really liked it. Got to talk to Coach. Talked to me a lot. Got to walk around the facilities. We went upstairs. I was really getting my own tour around the school. We watched them practice, saw how they do things. They were changing it up. What NFL? Dedrick Kimbrough, he's pretty good from Thompson. Got a chance to see him play up close and personal. Kid can go. Kingston Priere from Alexander City, quarterback. He plays for Benjamin Russell, I'm pretty sure. Really likes the team as well. Jordan Hicks is another one from Santa Margarita, California. I was talking about his game, how I play, how I fit into the defensive back transition over at Alabama, and how they produce the NFL, right? Prince Chi, right? Really good player from Thomasville. Got a chance to see him up close and personal. That kid can go 4-star, number 2 player in the country, number 2 player in the state, I should say. As opposed to the country, really good player, can go play at a high level. So I was talking to Alabama a little bit before earlier in the season. I think Bama's a great program. They develop really good players, and they're really consistent. I think it's a great program, right? And you got Jermaine Cobbins from Springfield, Tennessee. I love Bama right now. Bama is Bama. The bonding with the coaches, me and Coach Jones, got a great bond. We've been talking almost every day. Now that I've been to a practice and see how he coaches, I think it'll be a great fit for me. So there you go. Contact pay has begun, and they're hitting some of these top guys, especially in the state of Georgia. With guys like Kevin Hartsfield, and then obviously got guys like Prince Chi. So Bama ain't playing around. Bama getting some top guys. Now, the biggest thing right now is Bama's class is a little bit iffy. All right. And one of the main prospects they got to land on is Cedric Simmons, right? And he says it opened my eyes when talking about Alabama, right? And basically he said, this is a program, right? It opened my eyes, right? It caught my attention, right? And Bama's not taking a lot of prospects in this class, right? They're only taking a couple, right? So that was massive for them to have him on campus. Here's some of his OV photos, as you guys can see real quick. Right, here's some OV photos of Cedric there, right? 3-star prospect, you know what I'm saying? But Bama got to land on something, you know what I'm saying? You always want to bring in receivers, right? And basically, this is what he had to say. He said, the experience was nice. I got there, was able to watch them in practice. Simmons told Bama online, they practice hard, fast, and with intensity. I got to build a lot of relationships with the coaches that I didn't know previously. I met some of the players, built a relationship with them. I learned what Alabama was about and how they keep their great standard, how they're the best team in college football, always. It opened my eyes on how Alabama has produced some great receivers. Me and Coach Nix, the receivers coach, he's been texting me every day, sending me motivational stuff. That's really helped build our relationship. I built a relationship with him, the assistant wide receiver coach, Tori Gill, the offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer, and some other coaches. They all say they like my toughness on the field. Simmons said they like my versatility and how I can play anywhere on the field, slot, backfield, maybe outside receiver even. They like my mentality and how I'm not afraid of competition, just out there. They told me that I already had the physical aspect of playing. They said when I come in, the first thing I need to do is learn the playbook. That's the most important part of the game. I learn the playbook. That's the quickest way for me to get on the field, right? Says I learned from Sedarian why I should choose Alabama. Simmons said he opened my eyes on the receivers coach, how he trains, how they practice, the ins and outs of basically being an Alabama football player. He took care of me. We had fun. He was a good guy. Right? So there it is. Alabama's currently at the top, Simmons says. I think they're up there because they show me how I can come into their offense and produce early. They've shown me that I will probably be developed in the best situation in the country. Right? So that is what's being said after his official visit, basically in that article. Y'all go check it out. That is basically what was being said there. And like I said, Bama has to land on some wide receivers. They don't have enough. Right? Usually get a couple of really good ones, right? Cedric Simmons is going to be one to watch. That might be one they try to bring in and land for the Crimson Tide on a relatively quiet recruiting class. All right. All right. So we're going to leave that there. That is Alabama recruiting for you. All right. Now the big one. All right. We're going to move to Georgia. Georgia. Yeah. Georgia. All right. So the big recruit for the Georgia Bulldogs is Brayton Feaster. Okay, so this dude is a freak. I've seen some of his clips, and dude moves 4.41, I think 40-yard dash. Dude is explosive, agile, quick. He's everything you want at the linebacker spot if you're a Georgia Bulldog fan. Dude is next level, top notch. All right, he says Georgia is a very high priority for me. I'll just put it like that, without giving anything away. Feaster said, I fell in love with the place there. I fell in love with the guys. Felt like a second home to me. All right. The highlight of the trip proved to be connecting with Georgia alumnus Jalen Walker, a former Bulldog who was drafted in the first round by Atlanta Falcons in 2025. So I was able to pick his brain, ask questions, and find out about the Georgia process, getting the inside look on what the process was for Jalen to become what he became, Feaster said. Honestly, the biggest piece he told me was to be ready for work. Be ready to work and listen to Coach Shue, defensive coordinator, inside linebacker coach Glenn Schumann, Coach Shu is going to get you prepared, basically, is what he emphasized on a much higher scale. I'm very grateful that he was there that weekend, right? So he also said if you talk to the guys, he gets everybody NFL ready by the time they reach there, Feaster said. Walker said the biggest thing with Coach Shu was through football, he just made him prepare from day one to be able to step on the field and be a good leader. He also acts as a father figure, is basically a second father to a lot of the guys, always includes them at all the family dinners at his house, and is always hanging around his wife and his kids. Right. So that's big, right? That culture, that relationship, what Coach Glenn Schumann does, how he ingratiates himself with the players, how he makes them feel comfortable. But like I said, bro, Brayton Feaster is a stud. Look at his tape. Look at the different things that he can do, how fast he's moving. Athletic freak, 6'3", 245 already. Ain't gonna be too much more you're gonna have to add to him. You add that with Justin Simmons, all they have is the linebacker position. And you're looking at a guy, now I say ain't gonna start day one, but he should be a part of a rotation, right? Should be part of a rotation. I think Georgia has nailed this one. And like I said earlier this week, and it might be fixed to go on a run. And I think Georgia is in that category. And if they land Brayton Feaster, hey man, this will be a pretty damn good week for the Bulldogs, to say the least. All right. So we will leave that there. That is the latest. I won't spend too much time on this one either, this next topic, because I basically covered it in an individual video on Tuesday night. You know what I'm saying? But I'll just give a quick synopsis of it and what and my thoughts. I don't know why I'm liking like that. But Colton Nussmeier was basically ruled ineligible. All right, for the 2027 season, he transferred from um, uh, Flower Marcus, I think it is, and he transferred to Denton Ryan. Right, basically, family they ended up kind of downsizing, deciding to move to Denton from over there. The coach flagged it, said, "Hey, I potentially, well, I don't say the coach flagged it, but let's just say the coach said, could be for athletic reasons, or whatever." Gave his stance essentially. I won't say he flagged it. He gave his stance, right? And then UIL, basically, that was the association in Texas, pretty much ruled him ineligible, right? But like I said, his dad is the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints, so they just decided as family to move. Like I said, Big Brother's no longer there. Garrett Nussmeier, he's in the league now. They decided to move down and move to Denton. Now, Denton is a powerhouse. So that's probably why you would think it is a athletic move, because they're 12-2 last year. Now, in the last 11 seasons, they have made it deep into the postseason, right? But for him, and like I said earlier in the video, like, I think you should allow him to transfer, right? Give high school kids one transfer. Once you transfer once, that's it. Cut it off, as I basically said in that video, right? Because we want to see the top players play. We want to see Colton Nussmeier play. We want to see John Meredith play. We don't want to see them on the sideline. We want to see the best of the best, the creme de la creme, play. Period. You know what I'm saying? So I don't love it. Hopefully he gets it overturned. But the appeal process in Texas is tough. A lot of times it doesn't, but there could be other options on the table. And I said this before, and my last point on this is Texas has to be careful, because if they consistently rule their best players ineligible, you're going to find yourself in a situation where the best talent ain't staying in Texas. They're moving, right? They're going to Arizona, California, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Ohio. Like, they're going to start moving out. And if you Texas is known for being a great high school football state, you don't want that. So that's something to think about there as well. But we want to see Colton Nussmeier play. So can't blame him whatever decision he makes next. Senior season, you want to play last year. That's it. Probably going to be an early enrollee. Hey, we want to see the kid play. Right? That's just what it is. All right. So that's Colton Nussmeier. We will leave that there. Let's go ahead and hit the next topic. One second. Like I said, y'all want that one, y'all go check it out. You know what I'm saying? All right. So this one is interesting. I talked about this a little bit as well. And this is Sincere Gaylord. Gosh, let me ask a Laurel on 3. Okay. Sincere. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. I'm trying to watch the article. Y'all got me on a robot. Hold on, bro. Sorry, y'all. I ain't never seen that before. Okay, here we go. Why am I lagging so bad? Okay, hold on. Okay, so here we go. Sincere Gaylord, right? So this is a major prospect in the nation, 4-star prospect. Georgia's in an absolute battle with this kid. Washington, Georgia Tech, he visited here recently, have all liked this kid and been recruiting very hard. Roots goes back to California. But right now, the prediction machine rules at 26.6 in favor of Georgia landing Gaylord, right? Looking towards a decision in the near future. Gaylord feels the decision can come within the next 2 weeks, right? And Georgia is high on the board, right? So what it's going to come down to is just what Gaylord wants, right? With Georgia Tech, there's less there, right? You got Daquan White enter into his senior season. Jalen Bachway should have another year to decide on what he wants to do after that, right? And then you got Zach Toby, I believe he's a senior as well. So there's more room for competition, right? You still got Trey Stevenson, you still got Jaden Terry, right? You still got Elgin Sessions. But to me, if I'm Gaylord, obviously Georgia's a great program to develop quarterback position. I might try to go where I can play and be in a rotation early in my career. Right? Not necessarily start, but I could be in a rotation. I feel like Georgia Tech's one of the best teams that can offer that. Now, Georgia makes a lot of sense. We've seen their quarterbacks get to the league, play at a high level and be able to be major factors, right? And for Georgia, they're one of those teams too. Look at Rashawn Dinkins last year. Like you could be a part of the rotation. You know what I'm saying? You could be part of the rotation if you can play. So looks like Georgia is out in the lead for this recruitment right now. 2 weeks to go. We'll see if anything changes. But I believe this is a top prospect for Georgia. You know what I'm saying? And this will only help their recruiting class as they try to land more prospects and bring them in. But since Cesar Gaylord, you watch his tape, bro can play very strong physical corner that can play really good defense, man. But Georgia currently has the lead. All right. Now, I want to pull up the next spot. All right, we're going to move to the next squad, which is the Texas Longhorns. Okay. So I want to pull this up. I did a TikTok reaction to this, and it was very intriguing to say the least. Okay. So Steve Sarkisian had this to say about Arch Manning potentially returning for 2027. He says, we haven't had the discussion, but I will tell you, I would not be surprised. I think Arch really loves college football. I really do. I think he loves the University of Texas. He does pretty good through NIL, and he's got pretty good endorsements going on right now, which is a credit to him. So that was what he basically said on the Hey Kate Adams show, right? So it's interesting because you think, okay, a good year from Arch probably goes to the league. And everybody thinks he had such a terrible year last year, first year starting, had over 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So he got better as the season wore on. He wasn't good early on, but I think this is a guy with everything they surrounded him with. He should be a guy that has a big time season with the Cam Coleman, Orion Wingo, who we'll talk about here more in a second, and Hollywood Smothers and Malik Brown. And look at all these players. And this team can go. This team will be deep. Derek Cooper will be another running back to watch for as well. They've retooled the offensive line. Trevor Gooseby will be one to watch out for the Texas Longhorns. So to me, if I'm Coach Sark, right, of course I would want him to stay another year. It'd be interesting to see what Arch decides. Because what if he has that Heisman Kennedy year? What if he throws for 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, couple picks, and it has a really high completion rate? Does he leave? Right? And like I said, for players, I feel like it's hard to give up. Like, what if he's a top 5 pick, number 1 overall pick? It's gonna be hard to give that up to go back to college, compared to NFL. It is a little different now with the NIL dollars these kids make, right? Compared to NFL rookie contract, but now they're making these rookie contracts fully guaranteed. So you might get a 4-year deal worth $60 million, but fully guaranteed. College can't quite offer you that just yet. You know what I'm saying? They can offer you about $3-4 million a year, or $5 to $10 million on the higher side, but they can't offer a fully guaranteed contract. Just saying. So it's something to think about. It's interesting to say the least, and we'll see. I think it all depends on how the season plays out, how well he plays, and how he kind of moves forward. That's going to be what determines this for Arch if he decides to return next season. Okay. Now next, I want to pull up Ryan Wingo. I feel like he's low key being disrespected a little bit. Now I ain't seeing he's the best receiver, right? But he don't get included in top 10 conversations. This is a former 5-star prospect. I feel like we got to put some respect on his name a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He had a productive year. I know he had some drops. I know it wasn't his best season, but he had 54 catches, 834 yards, 7 touchdowns, 15.4 yards per catch. I feel like we got to put a little respect on bro's name. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he gets enough love. Now I know they got, like I said, I know they got Cam Coleman in there, but when he can play, he can play at a high level. I think he can ball. Right? Look at his game against Mississippi State, 5 catches, 184 yards. Right? And I think being around better talent is only going to help him, right? Puts him in a situation where he's not being one-on-one covered or double covered or have a lot of defensive attention. With Cam Coleman, it's going to open it up. And with competition breeds excellence, right? You know Cam Coleman wants to be excellent. That's only going to raise the game of, right? It's going to raise the game of Ryan Wingo. I think he doesn't get talked about enough, and he should. I ain't saying he had a super spectacular year, but we looked at a top 10. He deserves to be on that list. He had a better season statistically than DeCorian Moore. No disrespect, 434 yards. I like DeCorian Moore. Ain't saying he can't play, but he had a better season. You know what I'm saying? He had a better season than some of those receivers that were on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he deserves to be on that list. Gotta put some respect on Ryan Wingo. I think he's getting disrespected. I wanted to say that today. Gotta put some respect on his name. Gotta put some respect on his name. All right, so I had to bring that up today. Now, I did a TikTok video on this, so I'll be very brief for those that follow me on TikTok, but a big announcement, and this is Texas related. All right, big announcement for John Meredith, right, who was recently ruled ineligible. He's going to make his commitment decision on Friday between these three schools, Alabama, Texas A&M, and Texas. Texas is the presumptive favorite to win, right, and to get his recruitment, right? And if you're Texas from the Dallas area, you don't want to allow this kid to get away, right? You want him to come to Austin, right? You don't want him going, you know what I'm saying, to College Station. You want him coming to Austin, right? So I think it's Texas race to lose. Outstanding corner, athletic, great ball skills. Probably one of the best ones you're going to find. Probably one of the better cornerback prospects, we didn't found in the last few years. Definitely deserves more, you know what I'm saying, attention and praise. But I think Texas has this one locked up, and I think he will be a Longhorn come this time on Friday. Period. There it is. We'll leave it there. Keep it nice, short, and sweet. All right, now let's move to the Tennessee Volunteers. Okay, so they had a top 25 ranking. Here we go. Exit some of these tabs because it'll lag me down, y'all. Okay, here we go. Nope. All right. Here it is, y'all. Top 25 ranking, which we talked about earlier in the show. But I just want to say on Tennessee, okay? So Tennessee got a top 25 ranking. All right. Last year, probably disappointing year according to Tennessee standards. 8-5, 4-4 in the SEC. Lost to Vandy, lost some games they should have won. Right. Got to replace Joey Aguilar, Chris Brazel II, who's on the Panthers. Right. Arian Carter. Right. Jamal McCoy, Andre Turrentine, Jalen McMurray, Colton Hood, who's now in NFL as well, Jamal McCoy, right? Dominic Bailey and Joshua Josephs, right? Coming in, key additions, they're going to have Amari Campbell, Chaz Coleman, you know what I'm saying, Xavier Gillum, DeJuan Lane, Quay Moss, Kayan Lee, Jordan Norman, and TJ Metcalf, right? So their outlook of what he had to say after disappointing 2025 season, Volunteers coach Josh Heupel made a big move on defense, firing coordinator Tim Banks and replacing him with former Penn State coordinator Jim Knowles, who helped Ohio State win the 2024 national title. The Vols ranked 14th in the SEC in scoring defense, 28.8 points, and total defense, 397.2 yards last season. Campbell, Coleman, Gilman, and Lane followed Knowles to UT and should be impact players. The Tennessee judge denied Aguilar's injunction for another year of eligibility. Heupel didn't land a big-time quarterback in the transfer portal after pursuing Ty Simpson and saying leave it. Redshirt freshman George McIntyre and true freshman Faison Brandon will battle for the job in the spring. So, obviously, that was said before him. Now, I think it's nice that Tennessee has a top 25 ranking, right? Because new defensive coordinator, new pieces coming in, really good freshmen coming into this class. You got TK, Tristan Keys, Travis Smith Jr., Darius Jackson, right? You look at Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley. Should be a pretty good offense. Offensive line should be pretty good. Once again, David Sanders, you got Gabriel Osenda. We'll see what kind of rotational role he has this year. Really good running backs. Javon Gordon, Deshaun Bishop. True freshman coming in there. Excuse me. A lot of good players, to say the least. A lot of good players. So I like the 25 ranking, right? And I think for Tennessee, it's all going to depend on how good is your freshman quarterback. Because it's likely that Faison Brandon is going to win this job, right? That's probably what's going to happen. So for me, I think it's all dependent on how does he handle big game situations, right? Because if you're Tennessee, you did what you're supposed to do. You got a new coordinator, should have a better defense. Your offense is always going to score points. Just do you have enough offensively to help out your defense this year? It's going to be one of the bigger questions. And can Jim Knowles fix that defense in one season? Right? Those are some of your biggest questions if you're a Tennessee Vols fan, right? All possible. Talent's there. It's just seeing better production, right? Because defense cost you some games. Georgia, you should have beat Georgia. You should have upset Georgia, right, last year. But defense sold you, right? Some of those games, Mississippi State shouldn't have been that damn close, but defense couldn't stop a lick. Need your defense to perform better. Just the bottom line. And defense was uber talented last year. Now you got to figure out how you're going to make sure that everything fits and defense can perform at a higher level. But I like a top 25 ranking. I think they deserve it. I think they're going to be a team that, surprise some people this year. All right. Now we'll keep it on Tennessee. Now there's a player I think that's going to have a big role as a freshman. Put your guys on game. His name is Braden Rouse. Comes over from Kell High School, 4-star linebacker, was getting recruited by Alabama. I think Braden Rouse should have a major season this year for Tennessee. I know they got Jaden Parlati. They got several really good linebackers that he's behind. But I think somehow, some way, he's going to find a role on this team. I think Braden Rouse is going to perform at a high level and shock a couple people, as a true freshman phenom that stands out. All right, so remember the name Braden Rouse. I think he's going to have a big year this year for the Vols. Remember that name. All right. Now, moving on to the ACC, we will talk about the Miami Hurricanes, okay? All about recruiting top 100 2028 offensive tackle and elite 2029 quarterback is set to visit Miami this weekend. All right, so Quelly Felder is set to make a return to visit Miami this weekend. Felder was just on campus. I figure out where I was. Just on campus for Legends Camp a little more than a week ago and will now get even more time with Miami head coach Mario Cristobal and offensive line coach Alex Mirabal. I got to reach to the side. It's hard to see it because it's so squinted. Felder, the number 5 offensive tackle, number 43 overall prospect nationally, also visited Miami twice last year. Needless to say, Miami is a top contender and very much trending up in his recruitment early on. Auburn, Ohio State, and Texas A&M are others high on this list. I caught up with Felder earlier this offseason and gushed about his interest in Miami. Here is what he recently told me. I definitely think they're top 3. I love Coach Mirabal. He developed so many players. I just love what he's doing. They have a great program, especially for offensive linemen. Miami is definitely up there. Then they're also recruiting the Carrollton true freshman phenom, who will be a sophomore this year. Already announced his top 10, had Miami in it. CJ Cypher, teammate of Felder, just on campus for Legends Camp as well. Third overall visit this offseason for Cypher, as he also attended a spring practice. Miami has the early lead on Rivals recruiting prediction machine. It's clear the Hurricanes are making him a top priority early in this process. There's been some buzz about potential reclassification with Cypher. Would not surprise me if he jumps to the 2028 class. It makes a lot of sense. We'll see how that plays out, but the whispers are definitely real. While Miami does have a 2028 QB commit and 3-star Knox Ennis, the Hurricanes have been open to taking 2 at the position next cycle. All right. Miami commits are expected to be on campus this week. Nick Lanier, No Cut Nick, Akeem Hall, and DeMarcus DeRoche are also expected on campus. So 2 major guys on campus from Carrollton. I don't have the best relationship with Carrollton. I just don't go out there for real. But I've seen Quelly Felder, I'm saying, before at a camp. He dominates, pretty big guy, does his thing. Cypher, pretty smooth guy. Throws the ball well, good zip. I haven't seen enough of him. I have to see more. But seen him at a camp setting, did a couple of different things. But good that Miami's already kind of creating that relationship with 2028, standing out. They'll be juniors this year and then obviously sophomore and could reclass for Cypher. Wouldn't surprise me. So actually good that Miami's ingratiating themselves with it and just continuing to stand out and build that rapport and relationship early with top-end prospects, right? Just goes to show you the difference that Mario Cristobal is making. All right, so that's it on the recruiting tip. Let's talk a little bit about this top 10 list. 2 Hurricanes made this list. All right, so I did a reaction a little bit earlier. Did a little bit of a reaction. All right, so not earlier, but I did a reaction a couple days ago. Okay, so the Hurricane that's on here is Cooper Barkate. Now, I thought he deserved to be on this list. I like some Cooper Barkate. Last year, explosive, 72 catches, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. I think he deserved to be on this list. What he's able to do, bring to the table, I think he's going to help out Malachi Tony a lot because he's going to be that burner. Now, last year they had Keelan Marion. They had a couple of names, that helps. But sometimes, and they made some big plays, but it felt sometimes they needed a little bit more from the wide receiver spot. And I think with Cooper Barkate, he's going to be able to help out tremendously. Now, they got Vendors, Jacobs, Dylan Upshaw, some other players, but I think having Barkate should help out a lot because he's a slot, right? He can also play boundary, and he's low-key a deep threat, but he also can beat you in between the lines as well. He also can make those big plays along the lines as well. So him having his top 10 ranking, I love that he get a little bit of love on here. Right now, I said Ryan Wingo, Braylon Staley, Mario Craver, or other names I think deserves to be on this list, in my humble opinion, for top 10 wide receivers, right? Of how I would rank it. Some of these names I would take off, like a Decorian Moore. You know what I'm saying? I would probably take off Charlie Becker. You know what I'm saying? Nick Marsh as well. I like Nick Marsh, but got to see it. Played at Michigan State before. Got to see if he can do it again, right? So those are a couple names I would take off, and those are a couple names I would add on there. But I like Barkate's game. He's explosive, fast, and he's one of those guys. He's very dependable. So you need a big play over the middle. You need your team to get a first down. He makes those plays consistently, right? And there's a number of times, look at Duke games last year, he was ACC champion. He was Darian Miss's go-to target, right? In those key spots. And he came up time after time after time after time. So I think he's a guy, he should be able to have a big role in this offense, deserves to be top 10. And I think Wasserman with this one, he's early, and I think a lot of people are going to see how good he is with him playing on a bigger brand and a bigger scale. Because Miami's bigger than Duke, let's be honest. And I think you'll see him get a little bit more kind of notoriety and attention after this season, especially if he produces how he did last year. I think Cooper Barkate would definitely be one of those guys more of the nation is talking about. So credit him for being early. All right, so we'll leave that there. Last couple times before we wrap up, we're going to just talk a little bit about Larry Moon, right? So he's set for a decision here pretty soon. He's closing in on a decision. All right. So what's going on with him? So 4 schools are in play for Moon. Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, Michigan, and Ohio State are the main schools, said Moon. Right. Moon has already visited Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech for officials. Michigan's coming up, said Moon. Coach Tyler Stockton has been recruiting me. He's a good coach competitor. I like that about him. Virginia Tech has had James Franklin recruiting Moon since he was at Penn State. It's new colors for him, but same him, said Moon, but he got the energy. Georgia Tech is also making a push. I like Coach Jones and Coach Brent Key, said Moon. I like everyone there. There's a good staff, and they're showing a lot of love there. After his visit to Michigan, he'll close in on the decision, right? Moon said the decision will come by early July at the latest, right? So this is a guy I think for Georgia Tech they want to land, right? Because we talked about a little earlier with Georgia, right? They're kind of recruiting and they're standing out for Sincere Gaylord. So Larry Moon would be, it says DB, but he'd be cornerback for them, right? And that's the position. They're looking for about 1 or 2 corners. So this is a spot, let's just say they only get one right now with the summer, full effect in the summer. We could potentially see this. They try to flip somebody or they try to get somebody late in the cycle, right? Because they want about 1 or 2 corners, ideally, for Georgia Tech. But Moon, highly rated prospect, obviously Virginia Tech's in there, several other schools. So this could be a guy that you see potentially land, especially if they miss out on Gaylord. They at least want to get 1 corner. So Moon is going to be the name to continue to watch. How does the Michigan visit go? And then he's going to try to ideally make a decision by July 1st, which is not that far, right? That is only about 14 days away before we hit July. So definitely watch out for that. You know what I'm saying? But Moon would definitely fit this defense. Smooth, long, athletic, good ball skills. He would definitely fit the Georgia Tech defense. All right. Now, last but not least, I want to tell you guys a little bit about the mystery, right? When it comes to Georgia Tech. Excuse me. The biggest mystery for the Yellow Jackets this year, right? And I'll put you guys on game, right? The biggest mystery for the Georgia Tech team is the offense. It is Coach George Gotti, right? Because we don't know what this offense is going to look like, right? We've seen glimpses of it in the spring, right? We've seen Mendoza do his thing, 12 of 16, 148 yards and a touchdown. We saw this offense struggle, right? For whole first quarter, they could barely move the ball, right? 3 and out, maybe 1 first down. They couldn't do it, right? Then they started to kind of find their rhythm, right? Then they started kind of getting into that mode. So with new pieces, right? New offensive line practically. You only bring back 2 starters essentially. One is playing a new position in Malachi Carney. Got Jamison Reyes, Kevin P, inexperienced. Joseph Villanato will be a starting center, right? Brought in a new running back who's really good in Justice Haynes. That's not getting enough love, in my opinion. Along with Malachi Hosley. Really good running back room. Traylon Maddox, Chad Alexander, J.B. Powell, Shane Marshall. there's a couple mysteries in there. As I said to in the article, I think one of the mysteries is your wide receiver group, right? How good will this wide receiver group be? We don't know, right? We don't know. I don't know how good the wide receivers will be this upcoming year, right? You know, Jordan Allen, you know, he played last year, had a big role, as the season went on. Really good player. Will he be ready for the moment, right? He's your most versatile because he can play every position, right? X, Y, Z, whatever you need him to play, he can play. Where will his help come? Will Dalen Pinson be ready coming over from cornerback to wide receiver? Isaiah Furman's barely played. Big time target though, 6'4", played at Elon. Will he be ready for the jump? Outside of those three, how else do you look? Is it Javin Plummer? Is it DeBron Gatlin? Is it Evan Haynes? Is it a freshman? Is it Kentrell Davis? Is it, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it will be. Probably another year of development for J.J. Winston, but is it Darnell Collins? Like, who's going to be your other receivers to step up as well? Right? Can't be just those three, right? And there's still question marks there. So it's like there's still stuff to kind of figure out. So it's still the offense is a mystery, right? And then Mendoza is too. Only career 25 passing attempts. Looked good in the spring. Has the right mindset, right mentality, right approach to the game. But will he fold under bright lights, right? Or can he play up to the big level like how his big brother did? Don't know, right? Playing in spring versus that defense and playing in a road game, two different things. Not the same. Two different things. So it's going to be very intriguing to see kind of how all that shapes and how all that plays out, because you got to see how good Mendoza can be. Can he run the offense, right? Can he explode for big plays? Because they're going to need big plays in this offense. If the running game ain't working, which is going to happen, teams are going to gear up to kind of stop the run. Can he carry the offense? Can he make the plays necessary, right? Can the tight end step up, right? Which I think is probably going to be one of the better units outside of running back on this team, with Kevin Roche, with Gavin Harris, with Spencer Rivers, with Chris Corbo, right? But can he make them plays? Game on the line, 4th down, 2017 game, 2 minutes to go. You need a drive. See, those are situations we don't know, right? So that's a little bit of a mystery, right? And the other mystery is the play calling. How good will the play calling be for Gotti? Can he switch things up if the running game is not working? How will it look with play action and playing more under center, right? Those are some of the questions, right? And you don't want a predictable offense, right? You want to keep the defense on his heels. You want to keep them guessing. You want to keep them, backpedaling. Those are some of the questions I have. So that's why I said, like, the offense is one of the biggest mysteries to 2026. Defense, you kind of know what you're going to get, right? Same players, all 4 linebackers return. Couple changes on the defensive line, but you saw what they was able to do. Secondary, I mean, there's a little bit of, okay, how will it look with Tate Harris and Phoenix Felton and Savion Riley, but way more answers than questions for the defense, in my humble opinion. Way more questions than answers on the offensive side of the ball. So it'd be very interesting. But the mystery this year, how good will the offense be? Well, if the defense is dynamite, or if the defense is top 25, can the offense do enough to make sure this team is good to go? You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest question and mystery this year for the Yellow Jackets. We're going to find out. We're going to see how good this offense can be under Gotti, who pretty much specialized in tight ends, things like that. So very interesting to say the least, man. But appreciate everybody tuning in, man, to the show, man. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hype it up. Like I said, live every single Wednesday, you know what I'm saying, for you guys on the channel. You know what I'm saying, talking college football. Like I said, when the season comes, we'll talk specific games. Probably won't be as much recruiting and different topics like that. It'll probably just be the games, who they got this week, how can they come out with a win, different stuff like that. That'll probably be during the week when we break down that. But hope you guys love it, man. Appreciate you guys. Y'all been running me up. So just let me know what content you want to see, man. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, hype it up, and I'll see you guys soon. Till then, remember, as always, peace and love.